Hello, my YouTube people. Welcome to my newest psychic reading or energy channeling or conversation with the beloved Queen Cleopatra. I know it's been long awaited. Thank you all so much for being patient with these readings. I have been so busy with client readings and getting through my list of people who purchase readings from me. So, if you've purchased a reading from me within the last week or over the weekend, you're probably going to get your reading back within the next few days, or hear from me soon about setting up a time to do your reading, particularly if you got a phone reading. Also, always be mindful when you purchase a reading to just email me, any questions you may have, details, brief details, things of that nature, to prepare me for your reading, particularly if you also don't buy a phone reading as well. Always read the descriptions, always read, things of that nature that'll tell you what to do, what to expect, because usually after you purchase your reading from me, I ask that you send me your questions, a brief description, your email, or when you're available to set up a time if you purchased a phone reading, for example, to do your reading. So, just be mindful of that. Anyways, if you're new to my channel, I'm Lamarr Townsend. I am a psychic and energy channeler, a tarot reader, and an astrologer. And I decided to put my makeup on, put my face on today for this reading. And I always have a lot of you guys telling me that you guys miss when I do the makeup. You guys miss when I talk with Cleopatra. I'm always hearing, when's the next Cleopatra video? So it's like, I have time in between readings. Let me just go ahead and do this reading. Let me make sure I look cute, because it's Queen Cleopatra, of course. So I've got my crown on, but a different kind of crown. It's kind of a project I'm working on. It doubles as both a crown and a necklace. Sometimes I like to wear this when I do readings, but I do hope to get kind of like a coin connected to Cleopatra, although I do have Isis here, which is of course connected to Cleopatra. So I feel like, even though I do have Cleopatra jewelry and stuff like that, I always feel like when I wear this, I always feel like I have a little bit of Cleopatra with me, because, Isis is there, and she, was the reincarnation of Isis, or at least that's how she saw herself, projected herself, things of that nature. So anyways, that's my little spiel. Thank you all for being here. I did make this myself. I did also make this little satin head wrap myself. I, of course, did this little bit of makeup myself. Eyeliner. I actually have a lipstick as my red eyeshadow here. You guys know I'm creative with makeup. I've just got on some, eyebrow stuff. So I decided to look cute for Cleopatra, you guys. So let's go ahead and get into the reading. Part 1, we will be talking about reinventing yourself, and that is a interesting thing, talking about Cleopatra kind of associating herself with Isis. She invented, Cleopatra, over time. She also got into, like, presenting herself as Aphrodite, the Greek or a Roman, goddess. So it's like, Cleopatra was kind of like the queen of reinventing herself. So who better to ask as we go through these stages of life, and as we get older, and as we go through different phases? It's all about reinventing yourself. So part 1, we'll see what Cleopatra has to say. Part 2, we will channel even more. But part 2, we're usually a bit more open, a bit more unfiltered, because, the sponsors and people aren't watching, necessarily usually in part 2, alright? So let's go ahead and get into that. If you want to see part 2, click the join button next to the subscribe button. It should be somewhere. I'm not sure. You might have to get on a computer or tablet or something like that to view it, or laptop. Also, I'm available for personal reading. So if you want a reading, check out my website, lamarrtownsendtarot.com. This is my website. Once you reach this page, you're on the right page. This is lamarrtownsendtarot.com once again. Follow me on my other social media platforms here. Become a member of my Patreon, where I do more exclusive content and classes on spirituality, tarot, stuff like that. Also, you can read the reviews of people who have verified purchase readings. You can scroll down, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I post a lot as well. And also, if you want a reading, just go to the store section. I do all different types of readings. I do phone psychic tarot readings, email psychic tarot readings, video recorded psychic tarot readings. I do mediumship readings as well, if you want to connect to those who have passed on in your life, your ancestors, your spirit guides. Or sometimes I've had people actually come to me to channel a certain deity or something like that, such as like Nefertiti, or you know, other deities, stuff like that. Usually of light. Keep that in mind, right? Or always of light, actually. I also do past life readings if you want to learn about your past lives. I also do spiritual development classes if you want to develop your spirituality. I do tarot classes. I do astrology classes. I do birth chart readings, candles, and so much more. I do dream interpretation readings as well. So if you would be interested in any of those things, then check out my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. As always, let's go ahead and do a quick singing bowl so that we can get the energies right and that we can invite the energy of Queen Cleopatra in. Y'all, excuse me if my face is shiny, honey. It is a hot day here in Virginia. It is officially summertime, so we are way past spring. So I'm still getting acclimated to, although I have my green drink here, I'm still getting acclimated to the energy of summer. Let's close that window. Alright, sorry about that. Thank you, Spirit, for cleaning and cleansing the energy of this space. Thank you for opening up the channel so that I can connect with the energy of Queen Cleopatra, and that Queen Cleopatra can bestow her wisdom upon us about reinventing yourself throughout life, throughout the phases of life. Thank you for making this a safe, sacred space for Cleopatra to come through. Thank you, Spirit, for protecting my energy, my thoughts, my mind, and my emotions, the energy, thoughts, minds, and emotions of those watching this video. Amen, amen, amen. Alright. Cleopatra, she immediately comes through and she says, excuse me, long time no see. She says, long time no see. She's kind of sitting like this, like, long time no see. She goes, what are we talking about today? Well, Cleopatra, we're here to talk about what your opinion is, or what your beliefs are, or what your perspective is of reinventing yourself throughout life. She kind of goes jokingly, something Madonna has perfected very, you know, very well. She goes, you constantly have to reinvent yourself. She says, just as life can't stay consistent, you can't stay consistent, or a better terminology is, just as life doesn't stay the same, you can't stay the same either. So she goes, there's things that happen throughout your life. You lose people, you lose opportunities, you know, you lose, you know, typically just with loss, the loss of something, the ending of something, that change is kind of brought upon you. Change is forced on you. You know, when it's almost like the energy she's saying, it's like when you quit your job, or when you get fired from your job, God forbid, knock on wood, right? There's really not much you can do after that, after the fact, after you've been fired, after you've put in your notice, or after you've had your last day, right? There's something about you, after that point, it becomes, what next? Now I have to reinvent myself. She says there's different ways to reinvent yourself. You can stay in the same lane as to what you've always known, what you're comfortable with doing. It's kind of like the energy she's showing me of someone who's like going out and dating. And she's kind of showing me the energy of a woman, specifically like she's kind of going back in time to like the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s. So I'm wondering if there's something about that era, about reinventing themselves during that time. But anyways, she's giving me this energy of like a woman throughout her dating stages. It's like, you know, at 20 she found a partner back then, you know, and she, you know, she was dressing a certain way, she was presenting herself a certain way. Well, maybe 20 years later, 30 years later, you know, transition, life happens. Maybe that partner passes away, they got a divorce, who knows? And suddenly at, you know, 20, you know, or 40, 50, 60 years old, you know, you have to reinvent yourself. You know, the past, you know, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever years of your life has been about this relationship and this person. Now it's about you and you alone. Wow. She kind of goes, we're always identifying ourselves with something. Oh, I identify with this TV show. So, this character's like me, or this TV show's my life. But eventually you outgrow that TV show, and, 10, 25 years later, maybe you don't watch the TV show so much anymore, but you look back on it and it's like cringe. Like, why did I like that show again? It's like literally that's what she's saying. So she kind of goes, you're always reinventing yourself unbeknownst to you, or unbeknownst to yourself. You're always reinventing yourself. You're always changing. You're always growing. You're always evolving. You're never really the same, even on a day-to-day basis, she says. She says, the key to reinventing yourself is to be better than you were the day before, the year before, the month before, the week before. Also, she says one of the benefits of reinventing yourself, and she kind of goes to me and she says, maybe we'll get a bit more into this in part 2. She says, but one of the benefits of reinventing yourself is that you kind of make it, you make yourself ambiguous, she says, in, such words. Or it's like the energy of you make yourself like difficult to prejudge, or preconceive, or figure out for your enemies. Like when you're constantly reinventing yourself, your enemies, people from your past, maybe who don't wish the best, intentions for you or something like that, it makes it difficult for them to relate to you further, because they knew you at a certain point in your life. But as you reinvent yourself, they become less and less out of touch with new elements of you. So it makes it difficult for enemies to really latch on. But she's also saying something about, once again, she's like saying the energy of it makes it difficult for you or your enemy to judge your next move. Like, that's what I feel. Like, what's he or she gonna do next? It's kind of like the energy of just when someone thinks they've got you, you reinvent yourself. You kind of slip right out of their hand. She says the key to reinventing yourself is to never really get settled. She says understand that, things change, seasons change, fashion trends change from decade to decade, year to year, month to month. People's feelings change, people's opinions change, people change, she says. Foods change, she says. Over time, the world changes, earth changes, the animals change, humans change. People adapt. People invent, reinvent. She kind of gives me the energy of like, she has such a humorous way of like, she kind of goes, you think the light bulb has always been the light bulb? Like, no, people have reinvented the light bulb to become, more and more and more. Stage lights, she says. Color lights. Different light source from different, types of energies. She keeps saying halogen. Lights that you don't need to plug in. She's almost giving me the energy of like light source is going to reinvent itself over time. The way we source light or get lighting, something like that. She says people are always reinventing the wheel. That's what that phrase is about. like reinventing the wheel. It's doing what you've always done, but doing it better. Doing what someone else has always done, but doing it better. But it's, you know, kind of taking a blueprint that's already there, a foundation that's already there, and building on it. Building the story, she says. Building the outcome. And she kind of goes like this. She points to the camera and she's like, and you know, one of the best things about reinventing yourself is that no one can tell your story for you. And she looks right at the camera when she says that. So I feel like when she does that, she's talking to some of y'all directly. When you focus on reinventing yourself, whether this means losing weight, whether this means, you know, changing up your style, your job, your career, your home, whatever it is you're reinventing about yourself, she says, you know, one of the best things is that no one can tell your story. That's interesting. She says it's also never too late to reinvent yourself. You can start today, you can start now. You can start with your mindset, changing your mind about something. Change your thought process, your inner communication from, for example, I can't to I can. I won't to I will. She goes, change starts from within. So once some sort of change is facilitated from within yourself, and then you take that change from within yourself and implement it, you know, outside yourself in terms of your behaviors, that's the only way you're going to start to see change outside of yourself. It's one thing to know certain changes you want to make or you need to make up when it comes to yourself. I'm not even speaking of reinventing yourself, but, you know, it's like, you know, kind of that thing where it's like, you know, certain things that you're like self-awareness, like, you know, certain things about yourself, you know, that it's like you should change, you could change, but it's like you don't, or you're too lazy to, or you're not as committed as you should be. It's like, I should lose weight, but I love, you know, fried foods too much, I love eating out too much, I love this and that. Or it's like, you know, I could stop spending so much money, but I love nice things. Whenever I see money in my bank account, I just get so excited. You know, it's like whatever it is, there's something about an initial change in mindset that needs to happen. A commitment to change. She says this is how people go from, you know, being poor to rich. It starts from reinventing themselves. Wow. And she kind of goes, I think we can end there. I think we can end here. Alright. Well, thank you so much, Queen Cleopatra. We'll get into part 2. We will channel more energy and see what other things Cleopatra has to say to us about reinventing yourself. Once again, thank you all so much for your support in terms of your likes, your comments, your shares. Of course, thank you for your support in terms of, you know, becoming members of my YouTube. Like I always say, we're almost at 100. So it's very exciting, and I appreciate you all so much for your support. Also, be sure to check out my other social media platforms, my Twitch, my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube, my Vimeo, my, also I have a second YouTube channel, Lamarr Does Life, where I do vlogging content, lifestyle content, and all types of, like, more personal things, day-to-day things, where I just kind of show you, like, my real day-to-day life and stuff like that. And I think the most recent video I did was a story time, and before that I talked about my new green juicing green smoothie diet, or green juicing journey, I guess you could say. So check out that channel, and if you want a reading, as always, I'm available for personal readings on my website, once again, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. Actually, speaking of Cleopatra, I think I have a personal advertisement here with Cleopatra on it. Alright, So this is where you can go. This is all the information right here, right here. All right, right there. To text me for a reading, email me for a reading. Those are the prices. Some of the prices, there's more on my website. Know that phone readings do have same-day priority, and all other readings do typically take 1 to 3 days or less, depending on how busy I am. All right, but of course, readings comes first for me. Content comes later, which is why I haven't been on YouTube for like a week. All right, I've been so busy with readings. Back to readings I go. Actually, part 2 I go, and then back to readings. I'll see you in part 2. I'll see you in your own personal reading. Either way, I'll see you soon. Love and light. God bless. And of course, as always, thank you, Queen Cleopatra.